One, two, three, go!
Hi, I'm Miranda Daisy, the founder of Performability, and for the last 17 years I've been helping people with disabilities find their voice through dance, music and performance. But now it's my turn to use mine. I want to open up conversations about inclusion, disability and a lack of access in the arts, and share the teaching strategies that help teachers bring out the best in every student. Because I believe the arts can change the world. But one Daisy can only do so much. So, if you'd like to learn, grow, create change with me, and be a flower in the chain, welcome to the Daisy Chain Effect podcast. Hi friends, welcome back. I'm Miranda Daisy, and I'm the founder and director at Performability. I am a teacher first, a performer, and I've been teaching for the last 17 years, which is wild, mostly focusing on working with people who have disability and are neurodivergent, and I love what I do. And today I'm going to talk about something that it's only come on my radar, honestly, probably in the last 2 years. And it's something that if you already do it, you'll 100% agree with me that it is the most important thing a teacher can do. And if you don't do it, like I didn't for so long, you'll probably think it's not important at all. And that is teacher wellbeing. Now, teacher wellbeing, for me, when I think of teacher wellbeing, I think about my mental health, my physical health, my spiritual health, my financial wealth. I think about everything holistically for me that's going to make me a calm, patient, energetic teacher for when it's time to actually be in the space. Because if you've listened to me talk before, or if you know me, you'll know that I'm really passionate about teaching and think that there's so much more involved than surface level, so much more involved in teaching than we think, and so much more involved in teaching than we probably first realize when we first get into this space. So in the last couple of years, since having the Performability Studio space, so previously we would hire like a lot of new studios, local halls, other dance studio spaces, schools, all of those sorts of things. And that's exhausting in itself. I mean, we still do that for our Newcastle locations. And only the other day, the lockbox was broken and we just couldn't run class. And I thought, oh my gosh, I don't miss those days where you've got to lug the props in. And sometimes they have, I remember having times where they had like voting days and would forget to tell us. And the room was full of chairs and ballot boxes and all of these things. And we had to remove them. Man, that was stressful enough, wasn't it? But since having our own studio space, we run way more classes than we ever did before. So we have 54 classes a week. And before we started to build the team, was really teaching, I think last year even I was teaching 20-something classes a week. And it's a lot. And I really pride myself on, as best as I can, being 100% every time I teach. Because I want to do the students justice and I want to be the best teacher I can be. But in order to get to that place every single day when you're teaching, there are some things that I've realized that I need to do that I'd love to share with you because they really have changed who I am as a person, how I show up for others, and really changed how I show up as a teacher and also as a boss. So everyone's going to find these things differently for them. And they could be really simple or they could be things that you need to really plan for. So the first thing that I do is on a Sunday, I write down my plan for the week. I write down with my studio manager, we do it together. Actually, we do it on a Monday morning. We do it on a Monday. And we write down the wins from last week and we share them. Crumpet, can you not eat the plant? We write down our lessons from the previous week, and they could be business or personal related. And then we go through each sort of box of our personal and business lives. And these include things like what I mentioned before, mental health, financial wealth, personal goals, all of these things that we want to achieve. And then at the bottom, we break down when we're actually going to do them. So they don't sit there as these kind of goals that just sit there and don't happen. We break down, okay, which one of them are we going to tackle Monday down to Friday? And what do we need what are the things that we really need to do in order to feel like at the end of the week, we have won the week, we've crushed it. And it is a really great way to start the week. And what I've found for me is that I look at that during the week and I go, oh, I'm going to feel really bad if I don't actually get all of these things done. Then I'm not going to feel good at the end of the week, which will set me up for probably a crappy week the following Monday. There's a Danish word that I love called hygge. The word is hygge, and it means cozy and comfortable living. And something that feels hygge to you, they're the things that we want to start noticing. What feels hygge to me, and how can I have more hygge moments and hygge things in my life? They're going to be different for everyone, and often they're quite simple things. For me, I want to have a hygge-filled morning, and sometimes that is challenging with this little puppy, but we're trying to figure out what our routine is together. A hygge morning for me looks like a coffee in a really nice mug. I really like I really like handmade mugs with something on them that brings me joy. And it could be like a thumbprint in it for my thumb to go in, or it's speckly with a moon on it, or it's been gifted to me by someone that really is special to me. That makes me feel good in the morning. Another hygge moment for me is a couple of pages reading a book that is non-business related, something that is completely different. At the moment, it's crime fiction. I'm loving that. Then I feel like, okay, even if it's only 5 minutes, I have started my morning off with something that is not about work. And it just makes me feel like, yay me, I did something for me. And then sometimes that can go for an hour, and other times I barely get through 5 to 10 minutes. The next thing that makes me feel really good is knowing that I have scheduled at least one thing a week in for my relationships, my friendships, and my sort of cozy mental health vibes that I'm craving. So for me, that could look like booking in one yoga class. The following week, it might not be a yoga class. I might be feeling like I want to go have a spa day or a massage, or on those weeks where I feel like I don't have the luxuries of spending money, I'll organize a picnic or a walk somewhere I've never been before with my dog on a sunny day. But I make sure that it is a non-negotiable that at minimum one of those things a week happens, and I like them being different because I get bored. So it is routine, but it's not the same thing. The part of it's that the same is that I'm having this non-negotiable for me. The relationships part of it is planning at least one thing a week where I am doing something social, hanging out with my friends, organizing a coffee with someone I've really wanted to catch up with for a long time. But at least once a week, again, it's something that is non-work related and it's something just for me. The cool thing about this is the more non-work related things I have put into my week, the better I am at work. And this is the part that I really want to drill into you and hope that you can get excited about this again today. Crumpet, stop eating the plant. So it's not just about teacher well-being. It's actually just human well-being. But I think that what we don't talk about enough is that I think teachers, we take our work home with us a lot in all industries of a teacher. And to be better at teaching and better at our job, we actually need to do that a lot less. So I'm going to set you up with a little template for this. I'm going to put together a similar template that my studio manager Dale and I use every Monday so that you can do that with us on a Monday. And it's pulled in from many different things and mentors and people that I've learned from. And I've sort of taken what I've learned and loved from all of those people and created my own version of that for you to use. Okay, quick little pause. When I started this podcast, someone told me that 70% of people wouldn't care about it, 20% of people would hate something I say, and 10% would love it and find it life-changing. If you're part of the 10%, if you could take 2 seconds to like, subscribe, or follow wherever you're listening, it would be a really huge help to me and help me be able to reach more people. Okay, back to the episode. The second part to this is sharing how important this holistic style of wealth and health is to your students. So that's the part of it that I've also found really cool. I also learned the other day, and don't quote me on this because I'm sure scientifically it isn't exactly correct, but I love the idea that it is, which is humans are the only animals that don't shake off their energy like this, like dogs. And I see my puppy do it all the time, shakes his energy off. Apparently, there's something to this idea that we're the only animals that don't do this. So the cool part of this is sharing this stuff with your students and going, you know what, guys, I've actually found that doing these small things for me, or figuring out what brings me joy, peace, play, a feeling of calm, it's so good for you. And our students, especially those that are still at school, man, they have a lot going on. They have sometimes even got activities before school, then they go to school, then they got back-to-back classes where they have to use their brain all day long. They're exhausted. They're probably not eating enough food. Definitely most are not eating the right food, right? Good food. And then going straight to sport or dancing or whatever it is that they do after school. And then some of them still have homework after that. Where in there is the stuff that's really just for them? I know that dance is for them, but for them to recharge, I definitely didn't do that growing up. And so if I ever do have kids, but at the moment, I've got my 120 kids that I like to share this with, but if I ever do have kids, I'll really be encouraging this holistic lifestyle of all of these things, and even potentially planning it with them and sitting down and thinking about what it is that they want to do. I guess it's more conscious living as well. We get so swept up in all of the things that we're doing and things that we have to do and deadlines, and it's really trendy to be busy. How are you going? Oh, I'm so busy. It's like a trendy thing. I don't want that to be trendy anymore. I want it to be trendy to be like, I'm feeling really balanced. And here are the things that I'm doing that I'm loving. And I also want it to be trendy. Don't worry, I'll kickstart it, to shake your energy off in public. So I've definitely been doing this, and I've started going for walks in the morning with friends and walking down to the beach. And if I'm like, oh, I'm feeling, oh, I'll just shake it off. And I think we should normalize that a little bit more too, because the energy that we don't shake off, we keep in, and it's going to come up somewhere, either in a snap towards somebody or a bubbling feeling inside that, again, will just keep bubbling, and eventually pop somewhere. So it's really important to find these things. I think there's a bunch of different ideas, right? For some people, it's going to the movies on their own, having a really nice cooked meal, either by themselves or someone, sitting and watching a show and not feeling guilty that you're not doing anything else at the same time. I've started sewing gems on socks because I get bored when I'm forcing myself not to work. I still want to do something. Colouring in. There's a great company, if you're interested in looking them up, Retreat Yourself. Every season they send a box of goodies and meditations to do and activities, as well as beautiful products. And it's like a little Retreat Yourself box. And it's a very small, low cost for lots of high value worth of things. And I do preach about them all the time. I think that their company's doing pretty awesome stuff. And you can return your empty Retreat Yourself box with goodies for Aboriginal communities and women in need and send it back. So I love that they're giving back to the communities through their consumers. It's a very cool model. Anyway, I digress. Other little things are having a shower steamer in your shower. I love things that smell good. I always want things to smell good. So that's something else that gives me that sort of high-ghee feeling. And sometimes when you've sat in traffic, you're on the way to the studio, maybe something else has even happened before that, you're just feeling like, ugh, and then you walk straight into the studio and you teach, you need to find at least 60 seconds to get it together before you put that energy into the teaching space with your students, whether that's sitting in the bathroom and doing like some breathing exercises, if it's a roll-on smelly oil that you sniff before you get into the studio, if it's an app breathing exercise that maybe you prefer that sort of guided breathing and meditation, maybe it's a a self-squeeze body massage. Maybe it's looking at a picture on your phone that makes you feel joy. Maybe it's writing down the stuff that's in your head that's making you feel so that you can get that out and know that it's still there for you to come back to when you have the right time. Whatever it is, to not let that out on your students is so important, because what happens is that energy will sit, and even though you think you're not going to rant about it to your students, if they come and say something to you, or they're not getting a move that you need them to get, or anything else adds on top, that cup that you filled up a little bit with stuff is going to start filling up more and more. And you will find that it'll explode and tip over at some point. And the last thing that we want to do is for that to impact our relationship with our students and how they feel. And they often feel like any sort of negative feeling from you is because of them. They take it to heart and they feel like they've done something wrong, and they surely haven't. So I can talk about teacher wellbeing all day, but there's a couple of days where you should really be doing this very consciously. And one of those is competition days, another exam days, concert days, any of those days where we know we're going to be a little highly strung. We want to start the day with something that's going to really regulate our nervous system before we go into anything. Sometimes before concerts, I've done a yoga class with my teachers so that we're all ready for the day. Or we've done a breakfast together, something that's just calm before a heightened day. And concerts are a heightened nervous system kind of day. Our students are very good at picking up on energy, and if our energy is not regulated, they will feel that, and then theirs won't be either. And part of our job is to try and keep regulating their nervous system so that they can learn, so their brain is online and they can learn. They're not going to learn with a dysregulated nervous system, and they're not going to have a regulated one if you don't either. So I'll link you to a downloadable that you can use on a Monday or a Sunday, if you prefer, to set you up for the best week so you feel like you can win the week, and also consciously plan when you're going to do these things that will help you have a more regulated nervous system, a more enjoyable life, and be better teachers in the process. I'm always learning, and I'd love to hear what it is that you find that brings you those high-key moments, and I'll keep sharing mine with you. What I've learned is that in order to help other people, I have to help myself first. It's that classic thing of put your mask on before you put someone else's on, right? We have to do that as teachers. We have to get our nervous system regulated before we can go in and teach. We talk about this all the time in our teacher training, that the whole point of regulating our students is so that their executive functioning skills are going to be working. Their executive functioning skills are online. They can learn. Well, it's the same with us. We can't be teaching until we're online and we're regulated as well. So share this podcast episode with someone who you think could benefit from a little self-check-in, a little reminder, and maybe a bit of inspiration to just put themselves first. I am the first person that has to keep checking in with myself about that as well, hence why we do this every Monday. So I will drop a resource to you, how you can set your week up every week, join the chain, be a part of the daisy chain effect. And this is just one small part of how to be the best teacher you can be. See you next time. Before we wrap up, a quick little reminder. Everything shared on this podcast comes from my personal experience working in the performing arts and inclusion space. It's here for education, ideas, and conversation, not professional medical, legal, or therapeutic advice. Always chat with the right professionals for your specific situation, and keep asking the good questions. Bye for now.